So we sifted through a whole bunch of qualifiers to bring ourselves down to a 128-person group. Then, over the course of 4 weeks, that got whittled down, and now we begin a 64-person bracket. With the number 23 seed, Rayvis, and the number 42 seed, Relkin. Hey all friends, I'm Adirondack Rick, being joined by Koi, and this should be a fun match between these two. Could go either way.
Yeah, this is a very close match between these players. Relkin and Rayvis in the qualifiers performed very close to each other. They had obviously very different routes through the group stage, with Rayvis coming out as the first seed for the brackets. But I don't think it's very indicative of who's going to win this. It could really go either way.
Absolutely. So Relkin came out of the first round as the number 42 seed, ended up winning 2-0 over Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna, and they actually had to play 3 games because the first one was classified as a legal tie by tournament rules. Then ended up beating him in games 1 and 2, official game 1 and 2. But that second match between the two was actually very, very close at 28 seconds apiece, and then went off against Gamet in the winners finals of that bracket. Lost both of those games 2-0, and then got the tiebreak round against Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna once again, beat him 2-0 to set up his spot here in brackets, once again in the lower part of the bracket. Qualified as the second quartile, but we'll see how it goes against Rayvis, third quartile qualifier, and ended up winning it through the winners, and we are off and running. So just to explain how we do things here in the brackets, it's no different than it is in the group stage. We start off with a 7-7 open defeat Ganon. The loser of this best of 3, the first match of this best of 3, gets to choose an indicator that they want for game number 2. As we see 2 pendants in the light world, we have pendant at Hera, pendant at Desert, and one of our 5-6 crystals is over at Eastern.
Are you breathing? Okay, you've been talking for like 10 straight minutes, Rick.
I know.
Are you okay?
Yeah, but I had to give people the information of what's going on here, since this is the first game of brackets.
Yeah, sure. Rayvis actually killing a guard there, finding out that the guards are in the bomb prize pack, so easy bombs to come by.
So, just one final note about the brackets here. So, it is a single elimination best of 3 here as we go through the early stage of this, and we do find out we have a red rupee at the Lumberjack tree.
Yeah, single elimination does differ from the group stage. If either player or whichever player loses this series between these two guys, will be out of the tournament. That's the end. We can see Relkin killing some extra enemies here. He's setting up to get a tier 2 or 3 pull from the next tree. Hopefully to find bombs. Rayvis already having that bomb from the guard.
Yeah, which at least he can get himself into one of the locations, maybe grind up some rupees. Relkin trying to be careful here, not taking any bombs.
Yeah, Rayvis with that information, he killing another guard.
Yeah,
that was very likely to be a bomb.
Yeah, knowing what is in your prize packs, that's critical information to find out.
Just blue rupees there from the extra tree pull, but get him a little closer to buying bombs.
Yeah, getting blue rupees there is not a bad find. It's not exactly what you want to find there, but there are much worse finds that you can have. As we go through blind and we find not a heck of a lot.
Yeah, Relkin unhappy with his... yeah, nice boots. Unhappy with his bomb situation, opting to save and quit to Link's house, where he immediately finds the boots, which looks like he's going to take over to Sahasrar's hut.
Yeah, because you can bonk into the back 3 there and not have to worry about any bombs. And you can also find out what's here on the ledge, on the island. 300 rupees. We found the lamp in the back of Blind's hut.
Relkin's going to have boots for a bit longer than Rayvis will. But, Link's house isn't exactly something Rayvis is going to skip for very long.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Kakariko Village where you're going to be seeing Boots as a major player unless something's in the library, and we know Relkin's going to be making his way over there at some point in time.
Nice bombs behind a bomb.
Oh, absolutely. Gets the first sword, and we get ourselves the Quake Medallion in the back of Sahasrah's hut.
Rayvis unfortunately 5 rupees short of that 100 rupee total for the bottle merchant item. Having to go back in the well here. A little
Yeah.
slow, but better than skipping the flute or something.
Yeah, or the hook shot. I'm still salty about that.
What happened to you?
It was one of the qualifiers. Hookshot was that bottle vendor, and I finished the seed in 2+ hours, and that's the Moon Pearl.
Relkin still without bombs, having to dive these 50-50 bushes here. 2 of these bushes will have a 50% chance for a bomb every time he reloads the screen.
Yep, and so thankfully he's picking up a few bombs before he heads into the village. We get more bombs behind a bomb
More
wall.
bombs behind bombs.
Oh my goodness, the seed is setting up nicely here for Rayvis, and there's one bomb heading into the village.
Why don't we play with hints again? Where's my bombs require a bomb hint?
I know, 50 rupees there inside the back of the tavern in case you didn't have bombs going into the village. There you go. Now, Relkin's one major advantage in this village. Is it important? Not really. Piece of heart.
We'll still be able to save a little time just being able to dash through the overworld here.
Right, but the major advantage would have been if there was something nice, important inside of that library that Relkin would have been able to pick up this time, as opposed to Rayvis, who would have to backtrack to the village or wait until he gets back to his second loop through.
Rayvis will invariably start at Link's house here and get those boots. But where does he choose to take them?
South Shore.
I would have done the escape, honestly.
Yeah, with the sword,
Nice-
that's
nice
totally
convenient
understandable.
weapon. The lamp means everything's going to be completely in logic.
Yeah, absolutely. So I totally can see that that play too. There's no
the main
wrong
danger.
play.
The main danger with going to the escape this early is what if it's Aga required, right? And then you have to like double dip the front of escape.
Boots minimizes that. You still lose time, but it does. The boots do help minimize it.
All right, standard play here is to go east over to Mini Moldorm Cave, but sometimes you see people go over to Agina instead.
And that's where we're getting right now.
We'll do.
Thought I'm trying to set himself up for the dash speed, but couldn't get it on the steps, and has decided, nope, I'm not going to do that any longer. Get to see what's on the desert ledge, and just 20 rupees there. Nice moves there by Rayvis, knowing the layouts of the desert area to know where he can and can't dash.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Yeah, going to Agina's cave this early when you could have gone to like Mini Moldorm Cave, obviously not the most item dense choice, but it's very much a location that if you don't do it early, you probably put it off for a very long time. So you check it early to make sure it's not going to ruin your game later.
It's a case where if you... It's a check that that most opponents are not going to try to do at a reasonable time. Or they're going to put it off. That's what I mean to say. They're going to put it off.
Yeah, so it's like an anti-meta thing.
So if there's something nice at Agina, your opponent may not get it when you're getting it.
They'll follow this up with a lumberjack check.
Yep, and we know that's 20 rupees, I believe, was on the lumberjack ledge this time around.
Where did that guard come from? All right, Relkin finishing up the dam checks here while Rayvis saving and quitting once again. Probably going Mini Moldorm or the escape. Looks like Mini Moldorm will be the choice for both of our runners. Each of them heading in that direction.
There's a lot of people who like to put off the uncle and escape, and sometimes it can come back to haunt you. Sometimes you can get something good out of it.
Yeah,
Sometimes you can just avoid the trip.
Yeah, not doing the uncle start definitely increases the value of doing the escape during these early decision-making points. Glove and ice rod.
Yeah, the ice rod, the first bottle, the glove.
Bottle, very much a dance game find there. Wolf Runners already having been to Kakariko, Bottle was not what they were looking for.
This is the point where you'd like to see the flute or something of that level that you're already going to have to go back to the village to activate or head on over towards the dark world. So if we find the hammer, that also gives a reason to head on back towards the Kakariko village again.
Are we that lucky though?
Well, I don't know about us, but these runners, well, they're just going to find bombs.
All right, Relkin's setting up his water walk here. This is for Hobo and or the Zora area. With this few rupees, though, I'd be surprised if he actually went to Waterfall Ferry.
Yeah, I think this was going to be a trip on over towards the Hobo with 139 rupees in his arsenal. And Rayvis setting it up as well.
We saw Relkin open up the 20 rupee cave. I think that was in preparation in case he happened to find like 300 rupees in Hobo. He would have dipped that for a couple times to get that 500 total.
Relkin is choosing to take his water dashing on up towards the waterfall, and Rayvis is storing his water dashing. If something's on Zora's ledge, he is going to use that to his advantage. Don't forget he hasn't checked the island yet. Oh, just 20 rupees.
Not a big fan of these routing decisions to check the Zora area here, because it really does make it a lot harder to make the decision to go to Zora later.
Relkin holding on to his water dashing at this point, and this will allow him to get to the Hobo. And just a piece of heart, so the only thing of potential progression is going to be the Cane of Burner from this cycle.
Relkin gonna give us our first look at Back of Escape.
Mm-hmm. And also potentially Dark Cross if we get a key inside one of these first 3 chests. Literacy, piece of heart, a piece of heart, no key there.
Definitely what Relkin was looking for. Access to Pendant Desert Palace.
Huzzah.
It seems like, honestly, pretty likely that we're going to find something over there. I
Yeah.
don't know how much I really want to do that when you still have like Front of Escape and the Uncle checks. But Relkin says, let's follow this logic straight to Desert.
And there's some runners who are going to follow this logic deeply, and just you're not going to see them make much of a change here. But okay, item 1 can lead to item 2, and maybe I can pick myself up some free rupees on the way in order to pay off a certain Zora that is in logic.
Yeah, Relkin still has Houlihan available, so he only needs 225 to be able to get to Zora. Opted not to go all that way, though. Just one trip.
Looks like Rayvis is going to be heading up the mountain.
Yeah, I like this play quite a lot, as long as he doesn't go past the old man. I feel it's pretty time neutral to check the old man in this situation, because it does set up that save and quit point.
Well, at this point, he's only got one other check besides the old man.
Yeah, that's why I don't want him to go up the mountain.
Yeah.
That's pretty slow if you have to do that twice.
Especially considering the fact that the way we're playing this is still without the hints being turned on, so therefore you don't even have that to an advantage. You can find out what's on the Spectacle Rock, but that's about it. Get a key inside the first chest inside of Desert. And just 20 rupees from the old man.
He's gonna keep going though. Checking Spectral Rock Cave. And Desert wasn't even boots locked.
But we do get ourselves a mushroom.
Rayvis with the God Vision, finding Hookshot in Spectacle Rock Cave.
So if they had followed your suggestion, just stopping at the old man, that would have been troublesome. Just because
Oh yeah, definitely.
how many items that opens up. And we find ourselves a piece of heart inside Desert. So mushroom and piece of heart, the two items inside this dungeon.
Yeah, good news for Relkin that he's not going to be forced into a Limolus kill, because he definitely did not want to have to do that.
The interesting thing is that Relkin is continuing on here.
Yeah, he needs to do a Gina's Cave. He's looking for a way out of the dungeon.
Well, there we go. He will head on out this direction, head over towards Agina.
I think he was just on the fence on which way he wanted to leave the dungeon.
Yeah. I will say that did scare me when he started lifting up the rocks there.
Blue Mail's a nice
bombs. Blue Mail, Blue Sonic. $300 to help ourselves get closer to Zora money. Another bottle.
Relkin headed to turn in that mushroom immediately. This play makes a lot of sense. You committed such a large amount of time into that desert dive, and the only thing you found was this fetch quest. We need to know if this leads to something right away.
Oh, absolutely. And so far, right now, we haven't seen anything that the hookshot yields. Yeah, Blue Mail's nice and all right, but that's not that is required by logic.
Yeah, this if Rayvis gets nothing and then we find, say, the hammer later, like this is actually representing a large time loss for him. Oh, speaking of the hammer.
That's our Dark World access right there.
Yeah, that's very nice for Relkin getting that Dark World access. That desert dive ended up being very important. Rayvis unfortunately finding nothing on East Seth Mountain.
Yeah.
So
nice,
Rayvis will eventually go to desert and get this hammer. That's going to happen. But it may be a time loss for him that he did East Seth Mountain already if the mirror happens to be locked behind going up to Hera, because he'd have to go the whole long way all the way around East Seth Mountain all over again just to get there.
Rayvis heading on over in that direction. And there's her map check, and we have ourselves Green Pendant Swamp. And the 6th crystal is at the Palace of Darkness. So both crystals that unlock the Pyramid Fairy are bow blocked.
So it's a little concerning for Relkin, though, at this point, because if he doesn't have the mirror, so he has very little cause to go up to Spectacle Rock Cave, now that he has Dark World access. How long is it going to be before he finds that hook shot?
14 minutes.
From now?
From now.
Okay. Relkin taking a little less common route at the start of the Dark World axis here, going straight up to the pyramid.
Maybe, just maybe, he will find a mirror here that'll allow him to chuck Catfish together with Zora. It does not. At least on the pyramid ledge, that is.
Yeah, oftentimes you see players put off these two checks, Catfish and the pyramid, for so long because they do take quite a bit of time for how much you actually get from them compared to like full clearing Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town. But just like going to a Genis Cave early, this can be a huge boon to your routing if your opponent doesn't do this and you find something good here.
Yeah, Catfish is one of those places where he could, your opponent may be one of those that will put it off or treat it like it's a loose square. Catfish check coming up here for Relkin. His final stop on this tour. And Catfish has a little extra Zora money.
Yeah, not what he was looking for, but you know, getting there with the boots, it doesn't represent as large a time loss as it would have. Rayvis gets that mushroom from Desert, but opts to go back of escape. Oh, he's hula-hanning.
Yep, he's setting up the hula hand by bombing himself into the grave. They'll get him his 225 rupees, but he messes it up.
Oh no.
I think what he's going to try to do is lump the mushroom together with the Zora check.
Yeah, definitely not a bad play. Looks like he's given up though.
Yeah. It's one of those kind of things where you don't want to spend too much time. Nice bonk strategy to get himself aligned with a fake flipper position.
Relkin entering the Dark World at Village of Outcasts opts to not go into Skull Woods right now, heading straight down to Thieves Town.
Gets the Titan's Mitt, so that hammer was required to get yourself the Dark World access, as Rayvis just picks that up right now. And he will be joining Relkin in the Dark World real soon.
And correct me if I'm wrong, neither player went to the Uncle or the Front of Escape, right?
Nope. Uncle's been deserted.
I guess we're just never going to do those checks. Rayvis still has the possibility of like mirroring to it while checking the pyramid or something, but for Relkin, having already done that check, it might be quite a while before the Front of Escape starts looking good.
To be honest, when does the Front of Escape look really good?
But before South Shore, that's what I would have done it. But then I also got knocked out in the group stage, so what do I know?
I didn't even make it that far, so take my suggestions with a grain of salt. And boy, are they salty. There's the map check for Rayvis, getting the understanding of what we're about to find here, and we find ourselves the other boomerang in the first four of Thieves Town. So how many items have we seen so far in this Thieves Town?
Oh, I never count. I'm bad at the counting. I do a map check right before Zelda's cell, or the maiden cell. And that tells me how many items are left.
2 out of 4 was found. Thanks to Urshig, our tracker behind the scenes here on this first match of brackets. 6 rounds of great Link to the Past randomizer action coming your way. In the 2019-2020 tournament. Or 2020 tournament. Yeah, whatever.
It's God Pixel from Relkin there.
2020 tournament, yes. Don't worry, we'll be done by the end of February. In theory.
Relkin taking an unfortunate bump from one of the grasshoppers here, already down to 3 hearts. If he can just get to blind, he's not going to have too much trouble, but there's still some danger coming up in these next few rooms. And he's still on the green mill, so every bump hurts twice as much.
Yeah,
just getting a nice key dash.
Basement down here is something you don't want to be on low health with, and deciding to get a little too friendly with the inhabitants.
Okay, so we see Relkin going out of his way to kill that red Zazax. This is because he wanted to get these hearts. There's 2 hearts here on the right side that he picked up. Grabbing those is like, great, you know, I need the heal. But in doing so, you usually give the red Zazax enough time to really ruin your day. Starts firing straight up the middle. So Relkin kills him first, so just so that can't happen.
It's not fun when he decides he's going to shoot up the middle.
Weird. And he fires like at exactly the right speed to make it really difficult to scoot around him.
Oh, yeah. Blind will have the 4th and final item of this Thieves Town. Nothing of importance in here just yet. And 6 hearts remain here for Relkin. If he can keep this on script, he'll be pretty fine with the fight coming up. And perfectly done there for Relkin. Finishes off the blind fight, and we get nothing but 20 rupees.
Yeah, very nice script. Unfortunately, we didn't find anything here in Thieves Town, but no one really feels bad about full clearing a crystal dungeon.
Yeah, especially one that you end up having to beat. You already have everything you need to find all the items. It's off your list, and next up here, we're going to head on over towards the Sea House. I think both of these runners are going to be trying to put off doing Skullwoods until we find the Fire Rod.
Yeah, it's a decision you have to make very early upon entering the Dark World, because if you don't go there right away, you don't come back very soon. Those mitts, though, does allow Relkin to do these mitslog checks here. He'll be able to do hammer pegs and pick up the smith, but without the mirror, gonna have to come back later if we do pick him up.
Hammer pegs yields 10 arrows, not something that Relkin needs at this point. Rayvis trying to finish off this blind fight. 3.5 hearts remain.
Yeah, he's a little off script here, but still manage it, no problem.
Yeah,
still damage will save it.
Yeah. And with that, we are tied on the crystals, 1 apiece for both of these runners as we go to the digging game to find out which of 30 digs will yield our item today. And I'm guessing it was just rupees.
So one thing that the mitts does for Rayvis here is it gives him access to Dark Death Mountain, right? But that may not be as good a thing as it seems, because it just makes it even harder to justify going over to Hera. Hopefully Hera is just nothing, but I can't see him making that play to go all the way around the mountain to check that before entering the Dark World.
Looks like Relkin's getting ready to save the breadsmith, and he will be taking him to the light world by way of a saving quit, as Rayvis will be taking the pegs that we just saw Relkin do.
Nice little route to get Thieves Town, or to get King's Tomb on the way to the Smith turn-in. still not ideal to have to walk the smith all the way back. A lot of players will try to put this off for a very long time until they at least have the flute or something.
Yeah, until the Brett Smith has the flute, which leads to the mirror, and then you just feel extra behind because of that.
Yeah, everybody hates Hook and Swamp. That item just being exactly where you didn't want it to be.
Oh, yeah.
Rayvis is noping out of that Smith pickup. He is immediately going south. Maybe he'll come back for it. The Smith, of course, has bombs. Nothing. You were saying Rayvis or Relkin did go back for the Smith after Stumpy?
Yeah. Of course, bear in mind, Relkin had already checked
Hype Cave. Yeah.
Hype Cave as well as the pyramid, so less incentive for Rayvis, or more incentive for Rayvis to continue on the route versus Relkin.
So this clears up all of our West Darkworld checks, and all we got was some myths.
But speaking of myths, I hope Relkin remembers that he does have myths. Although he may be checking something.
Might be pure pet check.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. We're going to get ourselves a 30-minute ped check.
Yeah, certainly not crazy from our point of view. We're just flippers away from ped being in Logic.
Half Magic is on the ped today.
Okay, look, Rayvis going to Eseth Mountain again. So he comes here because he has the myths, right? This is all about Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny.
Yes.
But in entering the Dark World, he rules out his opportunity to go to Hera, and that's exactly what he's chosen to do.
By the way, I might be wrong on Relkin's estimate on what time he finally heads on to Death Mountain to claim his hookshot.
Yeah, looks like we're going front of Skull Woods.
Well, if there's something good in the 2 items that are in Skull Woods, more power to them. Sword upgrade's not bad.
You mean access to Ether Tablet? Relkin unfortunately ran out of hearts for this bomb jump, having to take a death warp to get the heal.
As we find that the Quake medallion that Relkin has already found, that is the one that is required to get into Turtle Rock today. 3 bombs inside the big chest in Skull Woods. That's item number 1. Everyone's favorite arrow, and nothing inside of Hookshot Cave today.
Rayvis still has Spike Cave to maybe save him on this trip. I don't think Master Sword was really that big of a find, though.
It's a nice find, but unless there's something on a tablet somewhere,
it's typically
doesn't
not
unlock anything.
Are we saving quits? Or are we saving a quitting?
Oh, because I think he was hoping to get some hearts in order to withstand after his Cane of Burnamate run out.
Did he not have 3 hearts?
He may not have been confident of being able to get through.
It's pretty tight on 3 hearts, but you can do it on 3 hearts and Burna. A little unfortunate Rayvis having to orphan that location. And we are in desperation mode on Rayvis' side. He's going over to Sahasrara.
Yeah, he's about to pick up the Quake, though, that he does need for Turtle Rock. As we're slowly starting to run out of checks, we find 300 rupees is the second item inside of Skull Woods, so no value to Skull Woods today.
Yeah, our main checks right now are Palace of Darkness without the bow, which honestly not too crazy, especially if you can bring a potion with you or can do them in the clip, just in case it is bow locked. And the Hera Ether Tablet area, which Rayvis has not done twice now, and Relkin can't do because he hasn't found the hookshot yet.
Hera is open to us. Red Rupee is on the bumper ledge. 3 bombs, the first of the items inside of Eastern.
Looks like Relkin's going down for purple chest.
We still have Zora on the table, which we didn't have the rupees for when both runners made their way over in that direction, as Relkin picks up the purple chest.
Doing the entire Smith sequence, Smith and purple chest without the mirror, is very, very, very undesirable. But that just means that everybody else is going to skip it, right? So what if it's progression?
The only person you have to worry about whether or not they check it is your opponent. In races like this. All right, purple chest, what are you today?
Can I just point out that we're doing fetch quests and bowless Eastern instead of going to front of escape and the uncle?
They don't like the uncle. The uncle gave him trash for Christmas. He's the kind that gave him socks that don't fit. Ooh, another fetch quest.
More fetch quests.
Bring a purple chest to get the shovel. Bring the shovel, dig it up. The magic powder.
No way does this lead to progression.
And the magic powder. What does that lead? Oh my goodness.
Looks like Rayvis is thinking pod. He's going to get a bottle or a potion.
Yep. Magic bat yields 20 rupees.
Very unfortunate. Relkin having completed the entirety of the Smith sequence, including Magic Bat, all without the mirror or the flute. That just means that as long as Rayvis doesn't do exactly that, Rayvis has gained some time here.
Absolutely. And just as a reminder, it was seen by many people who were watching this race. Rayvis pulling out the bombos inside of the big chest in Eastern. So that could lead to some decision making soon.
Are we sequence breaking Ice Palace? This is not crazy. Swamping a pendant means that we don't necessarily have to ever find the flippers.
That is right.
So breaking them does not feel like a bad play at all.
Relkin is about to head up to the mountain. This is about 5 minutes off of when I said he was going to. And this is Rayvis just wanting to hedge his bets that the Bombos is going to lead to something here. It's like what Relkin just did with the Smith chain there.
Yeah, for sure.
Fully clearing out with the shovel on over towards the magic powder.
And this follows our mitts find. We haven't found anything behind the mitts thus far. Just that Master Sword.
Did Relkin just despawn that bomb?
I didn't notice.
He deleted a bomb as he was going up those steps. As Relkin will go and pick up his hook shot. Rayvis finding the big key to Ice Palace in the first chest. So what do you think? Do you think there's something at Ether?
I mean, it's certainly possible. It's really hard to tell where this is all going to lead.
Here's an interesting decision here by Relkin to go ahead and check the Spike Cave. Now remember, Rayvis went here and did a save and quit before going in after finding no hearts or no fairies.
This makes a lot of sense for Relkin to do this right now, since he needs to go back down the mountain anyway with the to do the hookshot side.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just save and quit and do Spike Gate first?
Nothing
Just
good in
10
there.
arrows,
10 arrows.
Honestly, I really like Rayvis's play to go into Ice Palace here, but I didn't like his play to go into Eastern, which gave him access to this play.
And we don't even know if this is something that is going to pay out here for Rayvis. It's a possibility that Rayvis is doing this and coming up empty in a dungeon that you could go mode later on.
Yeah, but just like Thieves Town, though, it's with it being a crystal, it doesn't feel as bad, even though it is one of the worst dungeons to full clear versus go mode. So Relkin's going to have an opportunity here to go over to Tower of Hera and Ether Tablet, which Rayvis could not do on his first trip and chose not to do on his second trip.
₹50, the first item instead of Ice Palace. What do you think is the biggest item that Rayvis could find here in Ice?
Mirror. Or bow. Bow would also be pretty awesome, since he had to do Eastern to get in here in the first place. Finding the bow would feel very justified in that decision until he finds out where the fire rod is.
Well, if we hadn't already exhausted both items of Skull Woods, it would have been really interesting if Bombos led to Fire Rod that led to Bow. I mean, we still had the possibility with Skull Wood, or rather with Turtle Rock, but...
Second item. And no small key. Rayvis, unfortunately, having to go down to the big chest first. Hopefully this is just the third item, but it never is.
Our dear friends at Twitch chat are already thinking about what fun things that the uncle can have, since these two don't seem they want to visit their relatives.
Hashtag Uncle New Ped.
Let's get that trending on Twitter.
Yes. Relkin's going over to Hera. This is new checks.
Yes, and
Rayvis making his way to Ice Tea. Third item, just 20 rupees. Ice Palace is empty.
And so, with this book, we find a rupee stash is on the Ether Tablet.
So Mirror and Hera would be the absolute best thing in the world for Relkin to find, and the worst possible thing for Rayvis. But any progression here would be good.
We already know there's no progression inside of this Ice Palace. This would have been a good dungeon to go mode, as it looks like Relkin may be setting himself up for his attempt to do a Hera pot. using the save and quit select button in order to help try to set himself up as Rayvis.
Oh, immediately taking some hits.
Yeah,
Down to 2 hearts, having to drink that potion.
that's why he bought it.
Yeah, it makes sense now that he bought this on his way to Ice Palace. I thought it meant he was going to go to Pod. Relkin does get the Hera pot there. Rayvis already down to 2 hearts once again.
Yeah, the ice he can withstand one hit from. Cold Stare, he can't. That is a bad death to take.
That is a very significant time loss.
Kane of Samaria is in Hera.
Oh my god, is it like first chest Turtle Rock?
And Relkin has the accessibility of getting there too. Oh, look at this, Koi.
It's it's 44 minutes into the scene. Sphere 1, everybody. Sphere 1.
Here we go. And I think we have an item downstairs.
Yeah, looks like it.
That's half a love that these runners were doing without by not heading on over towards the uncle area at the beginning.
I feel you definitely do Hera Basement here because it's the only thing on the mountain that you can't do, or that you would be skipping if you did skip it, so you'd have nothing to pair it with later. And Cane of Samaria doesn't really seem like that great of an item to find because it does actually one single check.
No small key inside that chest will mean that Dark Cross will be the other key in the castle. And I'm surprised Relkin has not decided to take some bops around by the tiles. It makes me wonder if he's just going to do a save and quit here and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, that seems fine. Since his next play would be to go to... That's the bow and Hera Basement. Oh, Rayvis is in so much trouble.
Cane of Samaria and the bow in the Tower of Hera, Pendant Hera, coming up big for Relkin.
And it's not even just that it's the bow, it's that it's the bow when Rayvis is double dipping Eastern and has to double dip Ice Palace because of his double dip to Eastern.
And nothing is in the escape.
It's very unfortunate for Rayvis. He's definitely going to do pod before going to Hera.
Yeah, because Hera's a loose square to him at this point. There's very little value for him to go to Hera.
Yeah, why would he go to Hera, right? Like, that's crazy to go to Hera at this point.
Yeah, because it's just 3 checks at this point, and you have to take the long way around.
Yeah.
The only saving grace for Rayvis is if he finds the mirror, but...
Yeah, mirror and pod would definitely help him quite a bit, but still, that would just mean he's double dipping pod, right?
Yep. And I'll tell you what, if mirror turns out to be this item we find in Turtle Rock, and it's not guaranteed we're going to find an item here in Turtle Rock, but if that's an item we find here in Turtle Rock, you might want to start thinking about what you're going to pull for game 2.
I'm trying to think of what could happen that this would save Rayvis. Like mirror and pod, and then flute and mimic cave or something.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's favorite sick kid, just 50 rupees.
And already having the ice rod in our arsenal means that this is not going to be your typical ice rod hunt for go mode. And when we're talking about the mirror, we're just talking about easy access to Hera is the big thing at this point for Rayvis. And we now know he's going to be investing a little bit of time into a Skull Woods that is not going to give him anything of importance. And for Relkin, you have to go to Turtle Rock at this point. This is a loose square. Otherwise, you've cleared everything else on this mountain.
And guys, try to keep in mind, Rayvis not going to Hera when he could have earlier was not wrong. It wasn't wrong for him to do that. It was completely reasonable. Those were very slow checks in a pendant dungeon. He couldn't have done it his first trip. Like the only reason to do it, the only reason to do it on his second trip is if he was like really neurotic and it's like, I don't want to skip this forever.
And the journey continues for Relkin. Getting a key inside the first chest means we can get ourselves to the Chain Chomps.
Master Sword is not the ideal weapon to kill Pokies with. But it's the best one he had available.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm not sure how the Ice Rod works on Pokies. Another small key, fun. What does the Ice Rod do to Pokies?
The battle continues. I think at this point in time, Rayvis' best scenario is that Relkin comes up empty in this search of Turtle Rock, and that this thing takes him all the way to Laser Bridge.
Yeah, that would be very good for Rayvis, definitely. There's still possibilities for like Rayvis to find the other bow or something in Pod.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty huge.
Yeah, when have we last seen a bow be behind a bow in Palace of Darkness?
Literally every seed. Alright, Relkin going after this lava chest. If this is vanilla big key, that means he can get much farther in the dungeon.
It's not, and that's the end of the destination.
So, significant time loss having to go all the way to lava chest to find out that there was nothing in Turtle Rock without the fire rod, but I feel it was a necessary play for Relkin.
He had to make that move at that play. He had to make that play at that point. Given what he had done on that mountain, it was the last spot on his check. He had to make that move.
Yeah, skipping Turtle Rock at that point would have just made Turtle Rock, his Turtle Rock, Rayvis's Hera, right?
Pretty much. Current jump here for Rayvis.
Nice.
So, how many items did we find inside of this Eastern? Did we find all three? Or just two?
I think it was just two. Rayvis went all the way to Vanilla Big Key, but it was just a map. Hopefully Rayvis does think to buy a potion so that he can potion camera unlock inside Palace of Darkness here, which is definitely where he's going. I don't think he has another potion because he did drink that one on Cold Stare.
Yep, he did. And here he goes to buy another one for 150 rupees. And the very rare and heard shop noise.
So, best case scenario for Rayvis here is he finds the mirror and the other bow inside Pod.
Rayvis is going to be checking the pyramid. We already know there's nothing of substantial importance up there. Gonna bonk and get himself a fairy to keep himself alive. We've already seen Rayvis with one excruciating death. So wise decision to go ahead and pick up the fairy at this point. And when you have a death like that, the hardest thing to do is to try to calm yourself down so you can get yourself refocused on the race at hand.
Yeah, it's very easy after you make such an objective mistake like that, a definite time loss, to say to yourself, well, this race is foobar, you know, why even bother? But these runners, they are very practiced at making mistakes. That's how they got to where they are. You can't get good without breaking eggs, right?
I've broken many, many eggs in my days. Why am I not good? I mean it. All that broken yolk. Ruined eggs.
All right, Rayvis stepping into pod, where we find out whether or not it's boots or bow lock right away. It's the mirror. Okay, that's good. This is good news for Rayvis.
Yeah, it is.
Rayvis needed that mirror to make his trip to Hera more feasible.
That helps.
And he did bring the potion, so he will be able to go and check the rest of pod except for the boss.
Now, the other half of the formula is that Rayvis needs to go to Hera.
Yeah, the mirror that does give him access to a few more checks other than Hera, but I think it's just K45 and Graveyard Ledge, right? No flute, no flippers.
Relkin has lost control of the Armos here, does not get the quick kill. Gets a piece of heart, and there's the beautiful movement of the camera for Rayvis to take care of business. All right, we have 2 bow-locked spots here immediately, and don't forget there has to be 4 keys in this first area of the Palace of Darkness. And there's the other non-key item, so...
Yeah, every chest will be a small key in the front.
Yep. So he can just bonk into this one key, or this one chest here, get this key, and make his way to the back.
Yeah, the play here is to do the hammer jump.
Yeah, so you can
save the key, and that way you don't have to go to Staphos' basement.
Yeah, because that's a little bit of a time sink at that point, because he's... Well, this is a little bit of a time sink, too.
Didn't think it all the way through, unfortunately. That's not going to work, dude. Oh,
yeah,
it's just going to fall. Okay.
Relkin heading to the Palace of Darkness, so he will be picking up his mirror in just a moment as well. Rayvis' best case scenario at this point, and we've already now seen 3 of the 5 items in here, is if Rayvis gets the bow here.
Yeah, and the thing with Rayvis finding the bow here, it doesn't put him ahead, right? It just keeps him from being as far behind.
Yeah, because otherwise he's going to have to double back to here, and
now,
thankfully with the
Relkin,
mirror, he can
Relkin did do the mirrorless Smith sequence, though. So if Rayvis can go the whole game without ever touching the Smith sequence, like, that's a significant amount of time that Rayvis would be gaining.
Yeah. And Rayvis now getting ready to set up for the hammer jump. 2 keys in the arsenal. You want to hold on to those 2 keys.
Fortunately, finds out the hard way that mini Helmas don't really respond to the boomerang. Select buffer strats. You don't see this very often.
Gets it. That's item number 4. 5 items in the Palace of Darkness. 1 more exists. That's it right there. 50 rupees. No bow in here. Rayvis is gonna have to come back.
Mirror. Mirror.
Yeah, he's not keeping track of his number.
He
of
looked at
items
it twice.
Now he finally did. He did. There we go.
There he goes.
Relkin spending several seconds trying to set up a hammer dash right there and ended up probably losing more than he would have gained. Nice use of the Cane of Samaria. And here's Rayvis going up the mountain.
Yeah, immediately coming up here. He knows he could have done this earlier. He came up the mountain just a little too soon to do it on his first trip. Chose not to do it on his second trip, and now that he has the mirror, this is looking way better for him than it did before. And seeing as his other options were Graveyard Ledge and K45, this looks a lot better. 4 items up here. But is he going to do Hera Basement, right?
At this point, he's got to.
Well, yeah, but he finds Cane of Samaria, and it's like, oh, well, Cane of Samaria, I can enter Paw, or enter Turtle Rock.
Somebody pointing out into chat, and this is interesting here. That mirror gives Rayvis access to Mimic Cave.
Very true. He doesn't know that, though.
He definitely doesn't know. Well, he may know this at this point. Well, once he gets the Cane of Samaria, he may. Well, yeah.
No, I mean, like, he doesn't.
Think about
like,
it.
the first chest could just be the big key or something.
Yeah, you're right. I know where you're going with this. Rayvis trying to set up the dashing ability to get into the pot there for the Hera pot.
I don't know why everybody does this. It's a time save if you do it fast enough, but you have to do it fast enough.
How do you normally do it?
I don't do Hera pot if I find the big key.
Ah.
Unless I'm on, like, Fighter Sword or something.
I bomb and hookshot my way in. There's the Cane of Samaria pickup for Rayvis.
But yeah, I do bomb strats if I am doing Hera pot at all.
So we found all 5 items inside of this Palace of Darkness, so Relkin's going to be able to finish this dungeon. Now, bear in mind, Koi.
What's that?
Eastern and the Palace of Darkness are part of the 5-6 combo.
Yeah, also true.
So there could be something at Pyramid Ferry, and something that usually is a red flag for me is when the Pyramid Ferry requires similar items, like in this case, the bow.
Yeah, that's a good point. The bow gave access to those locations all by itself.
Moment of truth time for Rayvis. Do we go down to the basement for that one item? We have to at this stage.
He's going. That's good.
And he's going to go and claim his bow in just a moment and probably feel even worse, considering the fact that he's already dived into Eastern. He's already dived into Palace of Darkness.
You know, speaking of Pyramid Ferry, though, if I'm Relkin, I'm really thinking Pyramid Ferry at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because not only is it just the bow, but I found the bow in Hera Basement, a place that many runners like to skip. So I want to find out whether or not this bow leads to everything or not.
Absolutely.
And I don't think we found any bow lock progression in either of these dungeons.
No, we did not.
It was just like a heart container, right?
It was a heart piece on the Armos, and anything we saw inside of the Palace of Darkness did not lead to anything that opened up new locations to us.
The problem with Pyramid Ferry, though, for Relkin is he already did Pyramid and Catfish, so like going to Pyramid Ferry seems really gross. It's just a slow check.
Rayvis going through the tile here, and we'll make Spike Cave his destination for now. Had the opportunity to do so earlier. Did not get any hearts off the bushes, so opted not to do it. As Relkin finishes off with the Homicide fight, gets his 3rd crystal of the match. 3 crystals to 1 at an hour 2 in. Game 1 of the opening match for brackets. Number 23 seed Rayvis, the number 42 seed Relkin. A 7-7 open defeat Ganon. Best of 3.
Looks like Relkin's going after Pyramid Fairy. I thought maybe he might go to Ice Palace the same as Rayvis did, because that really does seem like a good play at this point. Secrets Breaking the Flippers does not feel bad when Swamp's a pendant.
So the next question here is, where does Rayvis go? Do we opt to check the lamp blocked spots for now? Or do we beeline it for the Palace of Darkness? And judging by that turn to the right, we're probably heading towards the Palace of Darkness once again.
Yeah, Helmslore doesn't have an item, he knows that, but Armos does. So he wants to get that out of the way. It just makes sense to do them together. Relkin going for the bomb dupe here. It's pretty costly if you mess it up, but it's pretty easy as long as you aren't crazy.
Does pull it off the dupe. All right, Pyramid Fairy, 2 items inside. Nothing. 20 rupees and a heart container.
All right, so let's keep track of what we have left. The mirror checks, we have Cave 45 and Grave Earth Ledge, as well as Mimic Cave.
Bombos Tablet.
And Bombo's Tablet. All right. That's it. Awesome. Great. Fun seed.
Hi, Uncle. It's an hour 5 since you left me.
He gets to do it from mirroring from the pyramid, though. So that's nice, at least.
Yes, it is. Don't forget, we also have Zora.
Oh, yeah. Zora, too.
Because these 2 runners, they were broke the first time they made that run over towards the Zora area. I'm gonna laugh myself silly if it turns out that for example, the Flippers are in Mimic Cave and the Fire Rod's in Swamp.
That would be disgusting.
It'd be disgusting, but within logic. And don't forget, we still gotta find out the flute, and we don't know if Ether's gonna be required this seed.
Yeah, definitely a lot of question marks here for this seed still so far. And Rayvis, although behind at this point, I think we can safely say that there's still an opportunity for him to come back.
Absolutely. The seed is not done until we reach go mode. And depending on where these 2 runners are when we reach go mode, it still may not be done at that point. Emissar is down for Rayvis, and Relkin dealing with the ball and chain guard. Getting the heart piece, and Relkin thinking, saving and quitting.
Yeah, I had to think for a second about Dark Cross, but then realized it was just a small key.
Yep. General rule of thumb is if you don't get the small key in the Sanctuary, the back 3 of Escape, or in that first chest of the castle, it's in Dark Cross. Relkin heading back to the Dark World, and I have a feeling this is going to be our Bombos and then into Cave 45.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense for him. We're kind of running out of checks. You would have liked to have done this with the Smith sequence, but Relkin already doing that without the mirror. Not really an option anymore.
All right, Bombos tablet time will yield a piece of heart. And to explain to the chat what we mean by the limitations where that Castle Tower key, or not Castle Tower, but the Hyrule Castle key can be, it simply comes down to the fact that the key logic in this game is devised in such a way that you can't be a dummy with your key, take it somewhere else, and soft lock your game.
Yeah, it's accounting for the possibility that if you kill that first blue guard that drops a key, and instead of opening the key door that's in that exact same room, if you took it all the way to the back, you would still be protected from a soft lock.
Absolutely. K-45 turned out to be 3 bombs. And Rayvis has the better setup here for the quick Armos kill. And takes care of him pretty easy. Nice kill there for Rayvis.
Fucking going after Graveyard Ledge here, which is probable progression.
We are running out of checks at this point, and I'm thinking we're down to 3
It might
locations at
be-
this point.
It might be Mimic Cave.
Koi, if it's Mimic Cave, you're on such a great commentary.
Oh my god.
You should be glad you're not playing this one. Ether!
That's maybe required later, possibly.
Not required as of now, but time will tell.
No flippers, Relkin having to go the long way around.
Nice hook shot there. That's one of those ones I didn't realize growing up was a hook shot location.
I don't think I've ever done that. Hook shot it from that direction.
It's funny because they put an arrow there to let you know that it's something you can do. All right, friends, it's either Zora or Mimic Cave. God help us now.
I mean, from the runner's point of view, I really hope it's Zora, because I think they were both wrong to come over here without the money for Zora.
Yep.
But for the chat's point of view, Mimic Cave would be so much funnier.
Oh, goodness. Here we go, Zora. What do you have for us? Flippers, it's vanilla!
Flippers. Well, this is kind of good news for Rayvis though, because now Relkin's definitely going to be going to Ice Palace first,
Vanilla
which means
flippers.
probably be a full clear of Ice Palace rather than a go mode.
Yeah, because Relkin's going to choose to do the Crystal Dungeon before doing a Pendant Dungeon.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
Even though it's 7 items versus just 3, it's the time sink of going into a Pendant Dungeon.
Yeah, and Relkin, unlike Rayvis, probably doesn't really feel behind or anything. Rayvis, unfortunately, he knows he's behind at this point. There's no way he's not.
Yeah, because when you take a debt to Cold Stare the way that Rayvis did, in what was a sequence break for him, you have no choice but to feel behind. Rayvis,
Yeah,
about
that
to pick
really,
up the Ether.
It really goes into what I was saying about how I felt it was incorrect for them to go to the Zora area without the rupees for Zora. And it comes down to sequence breaks are meant to make the game more efficient. So when your sequence break means you're skipping the in-logic checks, it feels really bad. Sequence breaking should never lead to a time loss.
And in this case, it turned into quite the time loss because it sent these two off the path of this logic. Rayvis having some issues
I don't know
with
what
his
he's trying to
guard.
do here.
I think he was going to take that purple chest all the way to Zora.
Yeah, was he gonna do the curtain jump in the light world?
That's exactly what it looked like.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Well, let's go back into the dark world with the purple chest so we can go check the Bombo's tablet. Ludwig Relkin had a little bit of an issue with the bomb jump.
Yeah, he's lost a few hearts here. He does have the powder though, so he has an opportunity to full heal before going to cold stare.
Yeah, but you don't want to have to lose your potion on trying to do a.
Does he have a potion? Oh, yeah, I see the green in his inventory, but that's not really gonna help him.
There's the shovel for Rayvis, and unfortunately now he's going to get sacked into this sequence, this fetch quest chain that we saw Relkin on earlier to yield of all 20 rupees. And here's the thing is, Chance inquiring about what we need the flippers for. Well, we're starting to really run out of locations where the fire rod can be, or the flute.
It's because there's progression in Swamp. That's why we need the flippers.
So it's becoming increasingly likely that we need to go into Swamp Palace to complete our goal of this game.
Yeah, the only out for skipping Swamp is maybe Mimic Cave has everything, but
yeah, and
probably
right now, Relkin's not going anywhere near there without the fire rod in his hand. And Rayvis right now is probably screaming at his computer going, "Come on, game!
Please!
Enough of the fetch quests!"
Does Rayvis go to Zora next, though? I think he might go to TR.
At some point in time, one of these two runners is going to have to make their way into Swamp. I have a feeling it's going to be the next stop in the destination here for Relkin. What does Rayvis do? Because we know Rayvis has to go back into this ice palace. Died to cold stare early on, probably hoping to have a better scenario in life, and probably wants to make it at this point either crystal number 6 or 7.
All right, well, it went to Blink's house. This is probably good news.
This is probably Pyramid Fairy at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, so Rayvis's options right now are, well, I can go check out Turtle Rock, which he hasn't been into at all, but might just be like big key in the first chest. He can go to Zora, which is so orphaned.
Relkin does not have a small key to get down to Iced Tea at this point.
Yeah, unfortunate mistake there.
Watch the countdown down to 3, 2, 1, and...
Oh my god! He took like a step forward before he dashed on the second screen there, which ruined the timing for it.
That bomb just appeared long enough to give Rayvis a inkling of hope, but then exploded.
I can't imagine he'll do it again, right?
This has not been Rayvis's run at all.
If you go for the bomb dupe again, it's out of stubbornness.
And at this point in time, you've already lost a lot of time. Like we've been mentioning this several times in regards to the death of Cold Stare, but the death of Cold Stare is going to cost him 3 minutes easy. Missing the bomb tube is going to cost him another minute. It's tough. It gets really tough when the run just keeps doing things to set you further back.
All right, where do you go now, Rayvis? He's staying in the Dark World. Is he going to Zora, maybe?
He better.
That's what he needs to do.
It looks like that's what he's doing because he's already checked Catfish. I think he's already checked Catfish. I think we're gonna get this.
Wait, has he checked Catfish? Yeah.
I guess we'll know whether or not he throws a rock into the circle.
Yeah, he checked Catfish. Remember, he bought the potion on the way to Pod.
No, that's right. Yes, you're right. All right. Relkin not having an easier time against this Cold Stare, but with the extra health, probably will be fine.
It's definitely going a little bit better than Relkin's fight did.
Yeah.
Or than Rayvis' fight did.
He's able to keep them away from him, which is the most important thing. It's the kind of fight where if they start homing in on you, you're done for. Rayvis is about to pick up vanilla ice cream. As Relkin picks up the crystal here in Ice Palace to give him a 5, or rather a 4-1 crystal lead. A 4-3 crystal lead.
So this is going to give us a nice look at the difference between the runners so far in their routing, because Relkin is definitely going to swamp right now, and Rayvis is definitely going to swamp right now. So the big difference between them is just that Ice Palace. Rayvis having a double dip that.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like we are converging on Swamp Palace.
Both runners are heading to Swamp because Rayvis has already done Ice, so there's no value.
Yeah, there's no cause for him to go back to Ice until he's in Go mode. Because the longer he waits, the more likely he is to have like better equipment on Cold Stare to make just a slightly faster fight.
And that's probably exactly what it is for Rayvis at this point. I want to find the Tempered Sword. I want to find something that's going to make Cold Stare go down a whole lot easier than it is with the Master Sword. Here we go. And the funny thing is if it's not in here, amongst the 7 items that we can find in Swamp and the Green Pendant combined, we're going back to Turtle Rock.
It's gonna be here though, right?
I would like to think so. I mean, the odds are better.
I can't imagine it's actually Mimic Cave. The best play, or the best outcome would be if it was Swamp and Mimic Cave, right? One was the Fire Rod, one was the Flute.
Oh God. At least if you get the Fire Rod and Mimic Cave, or rather, if you get the Flute and Mimic Cave, then you already have the Fire Rod, and you have a reason to go back, because we find a piece of heart in the first chest. And to the sounds of the pendant music here in Swamp, at an hour 22 in, what's got to be going through the mind of these runners?
Well, Relkin is thinking, wow, this seed's kind of horrible, but I'm doing all right. And Rayvis is thinking, oh my God, how is Relkin not finished yet? This is the worst seed ever.
I made all the bad decisions. I got hit by Cold Stare. I love the fact that they're one room apart at this point. Map. Just what you want to see. is a dungeon item. In a dungeon that is so infamous for left side swamp, and we have ourselves
deviation.
a divergence.
I like doing left side first here. The map means that there's definitely at least one item on left side, and it's a pendant, right? Like going to the back isn't really any more efficient than going to left side.
At this point, you think if Rayvis finds something like the fire rod or the flute, he's mirroring out.
Yeah, Relkin would do the same. The difference for Relkin is if he finds something back here, he does feel pressured to continue on and kill Armos anyway.
There's the flute!
And that's exactly what he's going to do, continuing on.
Just a fire rod away from go mode now. There's the compass, so left side swamp has either 2 items or the big key that leads to the second item. If you're Rayvis, you don't know what Relkin's been through, but if the fire rod is on left side swamp, that could be your chance to get back in this match.
Honestly, Rayvis probably wins if the fire rod's over here, because I cannot imagine Relkin doing that, going to left side after finding the flute in the back.
Relkin having a rough start to the Yargot's fight with the Master Sword.
Oh, nice triple pull.
Fire rod is enough!
Oh my god! Rayvis is back in this match. That is exactly what he needed to have happen.
And tempered sword! But he's clearing out! He's leaving!
That's fine though. It's fine though, because the fire rod doesn't do enough. Like he's just gonna come back here later and find the flute. Relkin gets the flute. He's going everywhere before he ever has come back to the left side.
Wow! Look at that for Relkin!
Relkin, you need to go back in the dungeon right now. That's the only way. But why would he? Even for 2 items? I can't imagine.
Relkin, does he go back in? He's going back in!
Oh my god. Okay, Relkin's fine then. That's fine. Yeah, I guess from Relkin's point of view, you feel pretty safe so far. You made all the right calls. You haven't double dipped anything. Everything's gone fine except for mirrorless Smith sequence. It doesn't feel wrong to do this.
So Relkin now, if he gets that fire rod, may not get to that final chest. Which means he may be out of tempered.
Oh, you think he'll skip the other left side chest?
I think he might skip the other side, because then he'll be in go mode.
Yeah, you're on Master Sword's overlist. It's like right there.
And the thing is, for all he knows, that could have been big key. And therefore you have to go all the way back to the big chest to get the item.
Yeah, I think if he checked it and it was the big key, he wouldn't go for the big chest. But like, I think he still check it.
I don't know. We'll find out though.
Either way, Master
minutes.
Sword versus Tempered isn't going to make up this amount of time lost. For
no,
Rayvis.
it's not. But it just plays another potential storyline into this entire race that's been filled with storylines.
That's incredible though that the fire rod was over there. Rayvis needed that to happen, but he also needed Relkin to skip it. Relkin just being a little bit thorough, definitely going to save him from an unfortunate rando loss.
And don't forget, this is a best of 3 series. Game 2 between these runners. The loser gets to pull the lever, and it's just like it was with groups. It could be 6-6, it could be fast Ganon, it could be standard, it could be map compass shuffle. Here is determination time for Relkin. Gets the fire rod, and he is going to get the tempered. You are right, he will check this chest and will be pleasantly surprised that in hour 27:43, Relkin is the first of these runners into...
Into what? Into what, Rick?
Go mode.
Okay.
So Relkin going to activate the flute as Rayvis goes downstairs.
It feels bad to like call it this early, but I mean, Rayvis coming back from this position is nigh impossible. Relkin would have to have like the worst GT ever for Rayvis to come back, but it can still be close.
Still possible, not out of the realm, but
Yeah, as we get deeper in this tournament, though, the chances of a runner making the kind of mistakes that Relkin would have to make for Rayvis to win just become like statistically impossible.
yeah, deeper into this tournament, you're going to see that execution is going to make it harder and harder for runners to have rando comebacks, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
It's not impossible. We've seen even the best of runners make interesting goofs and gaffes.
Yeah, there's also like technical difficulties too.
I don't even want to talk about technical difficulties. Those ones are tough to stomach.
Always record locally.
Exactly.
Rayvis checking the big chest first, and the off chance that they had his go mode item, so he can skip Mimic Cave.
Mm-hmm. Now, the good news is when Rayvis comes back to Swamp, he's nowhere going to be defeating Argus, but
Yeah, a little bit of time to save there.
fight against Maki the Tempered Sword. No real issues here. Pull up the mirror, get ready to make your next destination, which is going to be the Misery Mire. So Rayvis making his way over towards the Laser Bridge. We know there's going to be a key inside Laser Bridge based on the key layout here. One of the 4 chests will be it, but Relkin making his way over to Misery Mire. And when you're in go mode, you want to see a God Mire. Bombos was required to get into Mire today. Piece of Heart found, a bug catching net. Another piece of heart, and it's going to be in the NMG location, that small key. As Relkin takes care of the first major room of this mire.
Rude fire snake.
A map when you don't want to see a map. And for those hoping for a God Mire, you're not going to get it today.
Not going to be like a huge difference maker for either runner, though. They'll both be go moding this.
Yeah, but when you don't want to explore all the Misery Mire,
Yeah, it's annoying.
it's just annoying. You just want to get to Vitreous, and you want to make yourself ready to go. And there's the Butter Sword find on Trinex, so we know both runners are going to have the gold sword to end the seed.
Nice item for Rayvis. He'll get to have the perfect revenge against Coldstare. But no progression from TR. Rayvis has to go somewhere else to look for this flute. And it looks like we're going right back to Swamp.
There's the big key for Relkin. It was not in cutscene chest, so a little bit of savings here for Relkin. As Rayvis gets ready to go back into Swamp Palace, as you've mentioned before. We'll get the go mode, but unfortunately at this stage, he is now a dungeon and a half behind. Actually, more like a dungeon behind. Had we all know what caused that dungeon that he's behind. We know what caused that time. Spooky action for Relkin.
So spooky!
More spooky.
A little bit more.
One more spooky.
I want a spooky. Definitely one of the coolest glitches in the game.
One of these decades, I'll learn how to pull that trick off.
You should. It's actually super free.
Do I need a coupon in order to get it for free?
No, it's just free.
Oh, nice. And Misery Mire down for Relkin. Vitreous is dead. Hey, the silvers are on Vitreous. We're going to have gold sword. We're going to have silvers. Let's just make the end of the game free.
Cute game. No, Spooky Mire is actually, it's actually really, really simple to do. It's the kind of thing, it's really a lot like most glitches in this game, where it's impossible until somebody says, this is how it works, and then, oh, it's actually really easy.
Yeah, it's just I gotta look at I've got to look at the setups and things like that. Look at tutorials, all that good stuff. Rayvis gets the flute now in go mode. Relkin's gonna have to finish off with Turtle Rock first. So I think after all of this, the question that definitely would be asked is how far would Rayvis be behind if he didn't take that death to Cold Stare?
I think he'd definitely still be behind, but
he'd
it would be pretty close.
He'd be behind, yes, but he would be definitely in a position where a Ganon's Tower routing decision could make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to figure out what Rayvis is doing here. Oh, he's gonna activate the flute and then
activate the flute
Macula.
And then go into Skull.
If Rayvis's ice spell is last, we can really get a good picture of what the race would have looked like.
I think based on the setup here, Rayvis is either going to do
He's definitely doing Skull first.
Or Ice, but he's definitely doing Skull first.
They're functionally identical, doing one first or the other, because he knows that Ice Palace has no items, so there's no chance of like finding silvers there for Vitreous. And he has all the equipment he would ever need for Cold Stare. I guess half magic might be in Mire or something.
No, half magic's on pedestal.
Does he know that though?
Oh, good point. I forgot which one
But,
of these
but
two
like,
was the person who checked the pedestal.
even then, like half magic wouldn't really make a difference on Cold Stare because he has the butter sword.
Mm-hmm. This is a scenario here for Rayvis where, yes, we know he's going to find the silvers on Vitreous. Silvers do nothing in Ice Palace.
Yeah, there's nothing to find to make Ice Palace better, and there's nothing in Ice Palace to make Mire better. We just want him to do Ice Palace last, so it's easier to see the difference between the runners.
Oh yeah, for sure. Rayvis about to go face off against Mothula.
Yeah, unfortunately, Relkin, having already been in Turtle Rock, isn't able to skip the big chest here. He spent that key on the lava chest already.
Yep. At that point in time, it was his hope that Fire Rod was going to be hero progression. And he's going to find out that it is still the case where you got to go down to the bridge. Crystal pickup there for Rayvis as Relkin gets ready to deal with the second half of Turtle Rock.
All right, ISR Mire Rayvis. Pick one.
I still think he's going to flute to 8.
You were right.
Relkin making his way over to the laser bridge. The small key we know is on the NMG chest, and he's going to choose that to be his last.
Kind of rude for our Goma dungeons today. No Godmire, and the final chest has the small key on Laser Bridge.
And it would have only been avoidable if both of these runners were in go mode entering Turtle Rock, but neither of them were. So Relkin's about ready to face off against Trinex. Probably already feeling good about his arsenal. With the Tempered Sword, we'll see how he feels about the Gold Sword coming up in just a few moments. And Relkin here swinging the sword around to Trinex gets him well done. Relkin's going to grab the final crystal, make his way on over towards Ganon's tower. Koi?
Hi, what's up?
We like to throw numbers in chat.
Oh, right.
At this point in time.
Hey, guys, we're headed to Ganon's Tower. In Ganon's Tower, there are 22 item locations that can contain the big key that Relkin needs to finish this game. If you would like to guess in which of those 22 locations, the big key is waiting for Relkin. We will follow him through the dungeon and count with you and declare a winner on who guesses correctly first.
What if you can't count that high?
Are you trying to make fun of me, Rick? Because I can't count that high and you do that.
I can't. I'm a Zelda 1 runner. I can't count to 10.
I thought the 10th enemy has the bomb.
I never get to that number. I'm going to say number 8. What are you saying, Koi?
Gotta say 1. I think it's 1.
You're going to say 1. All right, here we go. Rayvis getting some revenge against Coldstare, to whom he died earlier, as Relkin goes down and sees if he has hope. Small key. Big key! Number 2!
What the heck, Relkin?
He chose wrong, so you would be wrong.
Relkin, why would you do that?
Relkin knows we can't count Koi, so he tried to get it in number 2 for both of us.
So Relkin's got to be feeling pretty good about his routing through this seed.
Although
I mean, he played very thoroughly.
Yeah.
So, like doing the Smith sequence definitely hurt.
Yeah.
Kana felt good about that. But he found the bow in Hera basement. He made that decision and got progression. That's awesome. He went back into Swamp after finding the flute in the back and found the fire rod. It's got to be feeling real good about that. So, like, the only way Relkin loses in his mind is somebody is playing against somebody who did some of the horrible item locations, but not all of them.
Somebody who maximizes the theory of dungeons first is probably the person that Relkin's worried about facing at this stage, because if you think about it, the Flipper's kind of the outlier to the rule of dungeons having the items.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that both of them did the Zora area when they didn't have rupees for Zora.
Yeah, that did come back to haunt them because it chased
them
them
off of front of Escape, which is the weirdest thing.
It chased them off the path that they needed to be on. Although I will say that in hour 45, it probably will start getting a little nervous here for Relkin. Let's see how he handles some of these late game bosses, and we'll see whether or not he's getting tense at all. Gonna have to... Ooh, nice second arrow. I was worried Relkin was gonna have to recycle that. This climb of the towers where you really can tell where a runner feels they are. If they're getting really, really nervous, you can tell in their motions how they're reacting to these races and etc. Rayvis is choosing to go the same route that Relkin did as far as Misery Mire is concerned.
Yeah, this is standard routing when you're looking for the big key. You check the first torch chest first, because if it's a small key, then you know where the big key is, and if it's the big key, then you have the big key. So it's like a double dip check.
Mm-hmm. And with gold, it's just going to be 2 slashes to this Moldorm to have him go down. Rayvis is doing cutscene chest. And Relkin is saying, no, I don't need to check that final chest. I have everything I need to beat this game.
The cape wouldn't have been like the worst thing to find, but...
Yeah.
Butter Sword, you don't really need the cape.
Yeah, exactly. Master Sword, you're wanting to see the cape. Tempered,
Ret Mail, maybe.
It's alright, but when you got Gold Sword, you're not worried about that whatsoever. Now this is where I'm talking about the nerves, because Relkin's not having a real fun Aga 2. Finally gets a good few hits on him right there.
Yeah, I'm being a little rude here.
There we go. And with that, Relkin is going to be the first on to the Ganon fight.
This was going to the big chest and then realized his mistake.
Yep, no big key.
He was looking for the big key, you did.
There we go. There's the big key for Rayvis. Relkin coming into this as the 42 seed, came into the brackets with a 4-2 record after beating Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna first round, lost to Gamachu in the winners finals, but in the tiebreak got a 2-0 series win against Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna. And it's just a Ganon fight away from getting a 1-0 leg up on this best of 3 series to make it into the round of 32. And making quick work here with the gold sword. And Rayvis having a couple of hits there, trying to get the spooky to work out. Relkin trying to time out his Silver's attack. Beautiful torch glitch right there.
Well, I thought he was going to go for the quadruple.
I thought he was going for triple. But there it is for Relkin. 2 doubles. And Relkin is going to take a 1-0 series lead in this best of 3, defeating Rayvis. Get your GGs into chat for your race winner. As Relkin will win this race with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 24 seconds. Momentarily, we'll see if Relkin wants to come on in and talk about this race with us. As Rayvis finishes off against Vitch, Reyes gets his silver arrows and will be making his way up to Ganon's tower to finish off this seed.
So Rayvis definitely has the opportunity to forfeit here if he wanted to. But if he wants to finish out the game, we are happy to watch him play.
Yeah, he's going to finish this seed out, and I'm glad to see him finish this seed out. Get some revenge here against all the things that have done him wrong. We'll have Relkin come in just a moment. Coming up a little bit later on, if you want more on the brackets here for a Link to the Past Randomizer, we have game number 1 of the Gamachu versus Hydra Power that's happening over on Speed Gaming 3. Dazed Cloud and Spy Weaver are going to be your talkers for that match. Mentioned earlier, Relkin lost to Gamachu in groups. So, with that, let's go ahead and get Relkin on in here. GG's.
Hi, thank you. GG's.
So fun seed, definitely, right?
that seed was not fun. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was definitely a little rude seed, some trolley items to be found, but you played very thoroughly overall, I think, which definitely played to your advantage. The bow and Hera basement, and then going back into swamp even after finding the flute was a huge find.
Oh yeah, I was debating hard in my head, wanted to go back in.
So Rayvis was decidedly behind at that point when you both kind of converged on Swamp Palace at the end there. But Rayvis had double dip Pod and Eastern, and he still had Ice Palace to go back to, having died to Cold Stare earlier. But he went left side first and found the Fire Rod. And that was like exactly what he needed to get back in this race. But he also needed you to skip it, but you didn't. So no time lost there.
I see.
I do want to know what prompted you to check that final chest in Swamp. Having just found the Fire Rod that got you into go mode, what inspired you to check that final chest?
I was like, I don't have tempered sword, so I was like, just on the off chance that this last chest has a sword in it, I'm gonna go check it. And that was very, very well timed.
How nice of that to drop you a tempered sword right there. We thought that was going to make for a difference. It obviously did not. Especially considering the fact that Trinax decided to drop you the 4th sword as it was, and Vitreous gave you the silvers. You said the seed was defined as rude. What did you find rude about this seed?
I mean, I didn't say rude, but either way.
I thought it was rude.
Yeah. Rude is as in Vanilla flippers for one. A bow in Hera basement, pendant Hera basement at that. What else? Let's see here. Two
items in swamp.
Yeah, and pendant swamp. You know, one in left side. Shall I go on?
I do want to point out that all 3 pendant dungeons were required.
That is true. Yes. Thankfully, probably the least rude and the most telegraphed was going to desert, because you had everything you needed to beat it. And it was like, well, I'm running low on places. I think the game is telling me to go there, and sure enough, the hammer was there.
It bottlenecked, well, mushroomed into hammer, but yeah, it bottlenecked you there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this seed had a few evil plots to it. Both of you decided to go over towards the Zora area, setting up the water dash without the rupees in hand to pay off the Zora play. Is that a move that you make every time, or is that something that you're just trying to maybe outwit your opponent on?
Oh, I just usually if I have boots, I'll set up a water block to do some Zora checks, whether I have the money or not. It just, didn't have the money that time, and that didn't help very much now, did it? But I mean, got there eventually. That was very annoying of the game to put the flippers there. But yeah, that's just something that I tend to do whenever I have boots in South Shore.
When you found the flippers there, how far were you fearing that you could have been behind Rayvis should he have found the flippers early on?
I don't know. Honestly, when I found the bow in Hera basement, I thought I may have been ahead, and then when I found the flippers, I thought, oh man, this might be close again. So I might be a little worried.
So you felt like it offset your advantage by going to Hera and clearing that early.
Yes.
Rayvis actually put off Hera for quite a long time. He went up the mountain a lot earlier than you did and found that hook shot. So when on his first trip to East Mountain, he didn't have the hammer to even get to Hera. And then when he came back with the mitts, he opted to go straight to the Dark World and didn't happen to find the mirror. So Hera just became like this really out of the way, definitely don't want to ever have to go there kind of location. Luckily, he found the mirror, so he had like a quicker trip back to it eventually.
This is scaring me.
A lot of time. He's fine.
He better be fine with a heart remaining at the States. This is not a fun place to take a death. You notice he's being extra careful with the lasers. So you ended up, after you went to Hera, took the Canis and Maria, went into the Turtle Rock at that point, and you dug until you got the first non-key item in that dungeon, which turned out to be a map. What were you thinking at that point? Did you feel that was going to be a play that Rayvis would have made himself?
Honestly, probably not. I like to think that I'll get lucky sometime and find a fire rod somewhere in Turtle Rock.
For a little while there, we were starting to wonder if Mimic Cave was going to have it.
It was down to Zora or Mimic Cave, and I was sweating at that point. So.
Yeah, that's what it was for us too. At that point, it was either progression was going to be on Zora, and if it wasn't Zora, then it was Mimic Cave, and that was going to be an awful place to have progression at that point.
I think going into Turtle Rock was definitely the right call for the position that you were in, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you had been able to do absolutely everything else on the mountain, so why not do TR2?
Yeah, I felt like I had something to give there, maybe a little bit. You know,
it lined up a lot nicer too, with how you routed it, having done Spike Cave at the start of your mountain trek rather than at the end.
Yeah, that's something that I tend to do early on in my mountain checks, as opposed to like after TR or later, because I just don't like the idea of skipping out on a check before hitting Turtle Rock if I don't have all the tools necessary to beat it. It just doesn't feel right to me. So I tend to do Spike Cave early rather than after everything else.
So winning this match means that Rayvis will get to change the setting for the next match. Is there any setting you're hoping he chooses, or hoping that he doesn't choose? You got to tell us now before he voice chat.
Honestly, I don't have a huge preference of what we do next. Map compass shuffle is the most like confusing. Just like, oh man, do I do this or do I do that? If I have my go mode items, but I don't know what's my last dungeon that I need to complete. But that's the only thing I can think of.
Rayvis into the Ganon fight with the gold sword in hand. Silver arrows, not much of a problem here. So as he faces off against Ganon, can remind you that we got some more matches here for the Link to the Past Randomizer. The first round of brackets coming up. We mentioned about the match tonight between Gamachu and High Ninja Power. Coming up tomorrow, we have a doubleheader featuring Korek versus Banta, which I know you are going to be interested in, Relkin.
Yeah, Gamachu was the winner out of our groups. Yeah, he's the top 32 part of our group that came out.
That was close there for Rayvis, but Rayvis does finish off with the Ganon fight. Get your GGs in the chat. And I was talking the Korek Banta because the winner of this pairing gets to face them in the next round. And get your GGs in there for Rayvis, who will step across the line and finish with a official SRL time of 1:59.49. So we have Korek versus Banta tomorrow, 10:20 for the first of a doubleheader. Sabatender takes on Andy, 3:20 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Artie Walsh versus Kappa, Plasma Kappa, 7:50. That'll be the nightcap on day number 2 of the brackets of this tournament. And welcome to Rayvis. GG's.
GG's and GG Reckon.
Yep, GG's, dude.
So definitely not a fun, happy seed for either runner today, but especially not for you, Rayvis. It really seemed like the seed was out to get you at times.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do about that? I mean, you start Sanctuary, and after 5 minutes you see the boots in Link's house, and you already know this seed for the next 2 hours is not gonna be fun when you decide to start at the wrong place. No, that's already a sign. Yeah, I mean, everywhere I went, I needed another item, like, for example, 300 rupees for Zora. Can't check it, go up the mountain, I find 300 rupees. I don't have the hammer, I finish the mountain, I find the hammer next. It was always this way, like, I needed the bow to get into finish Pot and Easter, then I find the mirror, alright, go up to Hera, I find my bow, alright, go back to Pot and Eastern. Find my fire rod and stuff. Yeah, it was simply bad.
By the time you found the mirror there, we already knew what the Tower of Hera had by Welkin's screen. So we were hoping that you would find the mirror, because otherwise it would have been really, really difficult for you to get back into the Tower of Hera. But ultimately, I think the theme of this seed for you, unfortunately, was Cold Stare.
That's part of it. I mean, even if I'm not dying, I'm still losing by a couple of minutes. Cold Stare isn't like 10 minutes to get back to I had gold sword and stuff. But setting up the water walk extra from Link's house, since I didn't have a bow or anything for splash deletion, it takes an additional time. I did kind of get into tilt mode after finding the bow in Hera, because I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I decided against Hera when I had the chance. It was wrong. It was everything I called was wrong in the seat. You can.
Yeah, I really felt like
do really anything against that.
Even when you did like make the right call, it was just either too late or just wasn't enough right call. Like you went to left side swamp first, which was definitely like the play, right? You got the fire rod, you got to skip part of the dungeon, but you didn't continue on to get the flute. When you got the mirror, you immediately went to Hera, which was definitely the right call. That's where all the progression was. But it was just too late to really save you that much time.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't matter. Like after having the mids, everything I had open was like, okay, overworld, and then what? So I went into Eastern. I got my bombos instead of going to pod, because if I get it into pod, I can at least dip Eastern afterwards and don't have to go the way twice.
Yeah.
I went into Ice. That was the wrong call. It was basically everything was wrong. So. I mean, we both survived the seed, and I guess that's the only positive thing, kind of. I at least can take here, but
It's a scenario where unfortunately you get yourself into a little bit of a rut of bad luck, like finding the boots after you started Sanctuary, finding, you know, the item that would have been able to beat the dungeon that you were just in. A few of these circumstances, it sometimes comes down to luck, and that was just unfortunate for you in this case. But of course, it's a best of 3, so game 2 coming up around the corner, and you get the chance to pull a lever. Any idea what you're considering pulling for game 2?
I haven't completely decided yet. But I guess we're switching to standard. Maybe a little bit more. If we make mistakes, then let's do them both and see just who at least plays the early game better.
That's an
fair,
interesting
like,
change. Because
I
both
don't.
of you put off the front of escape the entire seed.
Yeah, but to be fair, in that case, we had a sword and lamp early. It already looked like an Agassiz early on.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the first Agassiz where we get gloves and hook shots somewhere. I was a little surprised about the hammer. And also, what happened at Houlihan Room? Why didn't it work?
Somebody in chat was passing around the possible suggestion that you were just a pixel too high or something like that.
Alright, but usually I'm using the spin setup, so I'm mostly at the most top point. But anyway, it didn't work.
Right.
The next thing was like, why didn't the bomb tube work as well? That all these time losses were adding up too heavily, including like cold stare death and stuff. And though I basically knew with a Zora check, even if relkin is like, even I think I had only Turtle Rock open. So, and I was like, even if he dips that, even if he's going to laser bridge, he's probably like still in the front, because as long as he's not dying to any bosses, there's no way he's gonna be behind me. Therefore, relkin is too strong. I mean, we're top 64. You gotta basically, it shouldn't matter who's your opponent. You automatically gotta feel like you're behind. When you die to a boss like Cold Stare, it didn't even matter which boss, basically.
Yeah, I feel that.
Obviously, everybody sometimes dies or falls to Moldorm or stuff, but you can't count on that.
Yeah, the further up the chain you go, the possibilities of an execution death go down. But I mean,
competition is stiff.
I mean, the competition was stiff getting into the first part of this tournament, but even making it out of that first part of the tournament into this second part.
Oh, definitely. I'm super happy. I mean, I had people like Lunchtime and Aster in my group, so I can't be mad at all, even if I'm going out 0-2 now. But if I'm gonna lose next match, at least the seed shouldn't be like don't bamboozle me all the way through Hyrule, please.
Absolutely. Hopefully, you'll have a much kinder seed without vanilla flippers this next time around.
Or maybe a better decision making.
Or just give you some rupees on the way would be nice.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Give us the 300 rupee drops.
Also, that stupid Smith chain stuff.
Oh, right. The shovel into the powder into 20 rupees.
Oh yeah, that was really something. So that's actually the only location that I actually not checked too bad, because I waited for the Smith chain with the mirror, and then I find these ridiculous stuff, and then I thought, okay, this is getting like hilarious.
Yeah, relkin unfortunately did it with the without the mirror yet.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
at that
what you
point,
get for not. Sorry. Go ahead. I just wanted to say that's what you get for not double dipping Pod and Eastern, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I just got in the myths out of those backcasts. Like, I'm just gonna pursue myth stuff, and that led to that hilarious endeavor.
I can feel the smack talk right here. It's on for game 2 for between you two. But GG's to both of you, and good luck coming up in game number 2.
Yeah, thanks for commentating, guys, and tracking. Seems at least chat must have had fun with all the item locations that were available. And I wish everybody a new nice 2020. And see you soon.
Yeah, happy holidays and happy 2020 to you as well. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. Once again, we do have another match on our schedule for later today. Gamachu versus Hydra Power tonight, 7:20 p.m. Eastern in 2 hours from now over on twitch.tv/speedgaming3. Then we have the Kolrek Bonza doubleheader tomorrow morning, Sabatender and the 3:20 Eastern tomorrow afternoon for game number 1. And Artie Walsh versus Kappa is going to be 7:50 p.m. tomorrow night. Don't see game 2 between these two on the schedule just yet. They'll go ahead and discuss. They'll go ahead and figure out what they're going to do. It sounds like it's going to be a standard 7-7 defeat Ganon, but they may change their mind between now and then. So let's get out of here. Special thanks to Irvjig, who did the track and clicking the buttons in the background. Koi had a lot of fun.
Absolutely, this was a great race. Although it didn't end up being close. I could definitely see how it could have been. So I'm very excited for game 2.
Absolutely. So I'm Adirondack Rick. Koi, you send us on out of here, won't you?
Have a wonderful day, everybody. Stay tuned to Speed Gaming for more speed running fun, especially this Link to the Past Random tournament, which is going to be better and better as we get deeper in the tournament. We'll see you next time. Bye.